that there is a dark side to Disney. Have you ever heard about some of the, shall we say, more sinister things about Disney?
Like the man?
Oh, there's a little bit that he doesn't like people to know about. Little possibilities of not being not hating Hitler, shall we say?
Yeah.
Now, we've all heard Disney World and Disneyland called the happiest place on earth.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, as you're about to learn, even the happiest of places have dark corners. Of course, there are several different ghosts that haunt the different parks. Of course. How could there not be? They've been around so long, there's going to be a ghost.
Space Mountain is the oldest ride, longest line.
Oh, and there's a few ghosts that inhabit that.
Shit.
Oh, yeah. But the one I want to talk about right now is at the Tower of Terror.
Really?
Here in Orlando.
But that one's not that old.
I know. And there's the ghost of a former cast member that haunts it.
Ooh,
and because he was loading people into the Delta platform and had a heart attack and died right there. And since that day, there have been, in just the Delta platform, music getting turned on and off, lights getting turned on and off, and people seeing ghostly apparitions at the side of their head, to the point where now there's a standing practice that when they're closing down, you're not allowed to close down the Delta platform by yourself, because they have to go through the whole ride at the very end just to make sure everything's working. One of the stories is that they had a group of people closing down the Delta platform, and while they're going down, the lights went out for the entire ride. The ride did all of its motions and everything, but the lights were out the entire time. Therefore, it was completely terrifying for the cast members doing it. When they came off, they talked to the security guards that were watching them on video, and they said, "No, the lights were on the whole time. We were watching it."
Whoa,
that is weird.
Yeah, so it was just like a stationized area of darkness on them.
Like everyone had temporary blindness for
Something like that. Yeah. Now,
interdimensional.
there's also a similar entity that lives in It's a Small World. As this It's a Small World didn't need to be terrifying,
Right, exactly.
More terrifying than it already is.
Why does everyone hate that ride?
Well, it's not there anymore.
Because
I think
it
they changed
just keeps going and going and going
The song.
and going. Now, the haunting began in 1999.
Okay.
A group were in the ride when suddenly it stopped. Lights came on, and the guests were asked to exit the ride and leave the building as soon as possible. And one woman had a few shots left on her disposable camera and just started taking random shots.
Okay.
Later, when she got home a few weeks later, she's looking at the shots, and one of the shots is just looking up the ceiling with the whole lights on the ride, and you can clearly see a cast member hanging from the ceiling. A cast member committed suicide. Right there in the middle of the ride, there were ambulances and everything outside the ride. Once they got there, they didn't know what it was all about.
Are you kidding me?
Once they saw the picture, for years after that, there were sightings of ghostly figures, and once again, the whole mischievous thing of knocking things around and turning off different
Mischief.
parts. Yeah, little mischiefy ghosts. They never really do anything that terrifying nowadays, except for being dead people.
Right.
That's terrifying enough.
Yes.
And they have similar things going on at, of course, Haunted Mansion, because the Haunted Mansion, a lot of people, for some reason, have gotten in the habit of taking their loved ones' ashes and depositing them in the ride somewhere.
Well, I think the name lends itself to that,
But now they actually sell urns in the gift shop to try to discourage people from doing this.
We know you don't have an urn. You're just carrying around your late husband in your pocket. So just please buy this
just like a
$50 urn. That's shaped like Mickey
Popeye's
Mouse's
bag
head.
or something, just like handfuls like along the ride. Like,
It's just like
Gary, I
breadcrumbs.
miss you.
Mandaddy, do you know anything about the Disneyland, I believe, in California, the video of the apparition walking out of the Haunted Mansion?
Yes. Where,
Do
from the
you-
courtyard.
So you obviously have seen this,
Yes,
and
I
for
have.
Kaz and Nick's Bride, those who have not seen
I have
it,
not seen it.
it's a simple YouTube search away from you. All you need to it's from the security camera, and you just see this like fuzzy, blurry entity. Light waves are going in and out of it, diffracting. And it walks pretty much out of the Haunted Mansion all the way across for a good distance away from it.
It's such like a poser ghost move, though. Like you don't even haunt a real house. You go to Disneyland, find the Haunted Mansion, and
That
haunt
is kind of lame,
right? Like just go find a real house. That's lame.
Maybe it was so damned haunted, though, that they were like, get out, poser.
It wasn't cool enough to haunt the Haunted Mansion. It's
Right.
like
It's
like
the
a
elite.
Studio
It's
50s.
right.
Yeah.
It's the A Club haunting.
Go haunt the teacups.
No, you wouldn't see it. Like, will you see something? I don't know. Now, all these stories, while creepier in their own right, pales in comparison to the story of the lost Mickey Mouse film from the 1930s. This was supposedly discovered by Leonard Maltin,
Really?
But he won't talk about it now.
Who's that?
Movie critic.
Now, he was working on a Walt Disney's Treasures DVD set. And the film shows Mickey just walking down a street, looking slightly down with a blank look on his face, and disjointed piano music playing in the background. And this continues basically on a loop for about 3 minutes and then fades to black. That's it.
Okay.
And so he thought he found like maybe some test footage or something like that. And so he decided that even though it's not anything special, it's Disney, so we should preserve it. So he asked to get a digital copy and found out when he said it to him, like, no, this film was actually 9 minutes and 4 seconds long.
Oh.
And so they got the digital copy, and once they got back, they decided to watch it after the fade out. So it stayed black until about the 6 minute mark. And then the footage of Mickey walking reappeared, but without the piano music. It was replaced with a languageless murmur, an almost gurgling cry in the distance as he's walking down the street. And over the next few minutes, the murmur keeps getting louder and more distressed. Then the imagery changes. The look on Mickey's face goes from blank to almost a sinister sneer. Then the sidewalk starts to twist and turn in impossible directions. Colors that shouldn't have been possible with the technology at the time fade in and out. Buildings begin to collapse and become nothing more than rubble floating in midair. By 8 minutes in, the murmur has become a blood-curdling scream. Mickey's face begins to distort and fall apart. His eyes rolling to the bottom of his chin and his mouth beginning to curl into an evil grin as he frantically starts running down the impossible sidewalk. At this point, Leonard Maltin could not take it anymore. He instructed an employee to watch the rest of the film, take notes, and file the disc away. According to the notes,
Oh, God.
it continued for another minute until finally Mickey collapses to the ground dead, and a syringe is seen falling from his hands. It then cuts to the typical smiling Mickey logo that all the classic cartoons end with, with the sound of a broken music box in the background. At the bottom of the screen was a line of text in Russian, and it roughly translated into, "The sights of hell bring its viewers back in." That's when things got weird. Because there was a last 30 seconds that no one knows exactly what happened. Some people said that there's been images of devils. Some people say there's other things. But according to a security card, after the employee was finished watching the video, he stumbled out of the viewing room with pale white skin. He uttered the phrase, "Real suffering is not known."
Oh, no, God damn.
And he repeated it 7 times in a row. And then quickly grabbed the guard's gun and blew his own brains out.
Whoa!
Wow.
Right there on the spot. No one is sure what happened to the original cartoon. Maltin refuses to speak about it to this day. Some claim that he burned the original copy and that now on YouTube you can find various versions under the title suicidemouse.av. But everyone says that those aren't the real ones, that there's a different one out there. No one's really sure what mysterious force was contained in that original version. But one thing is for sure, even at the happiest place on earth, darkness still lurks.
Well, I mean, that's a very frightening
disturbing.
way to
Yeah, it's unsettling.
die and end in a theme park forever.
Yeah, I ruin everything. It's what I do.